So thank you all for joining. My name is Temi Akinwumi. This is a Tech and Powerhouse. We meet here every day at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just 1 hour. This is our break into tech hour. Feel free to follow the moderators and follow the room so that you can get notification when we are here. As well as we always meet here also on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And that on that 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I call it a family reunion. Yesterday was fire. That yesterday was hot. It was great. We are so grateful for all our supporters, all our people that are giving back to the community one day at a time, one person at a time. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, that we're working together to give back to our community. I don't take that lightly. I've been in tech for about 26 years. And looking back, tech has evolved. And it's becoming easier and easier to break into tech. Ms. Sue, thank you for joining. And even though as tech is evolving, many people are still finding it so difficult to get into tech. It shouldn't be like that. So that's why you see us passionately here, try to make sure people are not confused what to do and how to get in. Because looking at myself, like, 26 years ago, before I actually get a job in tech, I don't have a mentor. We don't have anybody. It was difficult to get in, but it shouldn't be, because now I can look at it as a pathway and we help people share them up and bring them in. And that's what I do. Right now, I've mentored like over 1,000 plus engineers into tech, and I'm proud to say that. And my company is Top Group Technologies, an IT company in Lago, Maryland. And I've had that company for 16 years. So if you look under my bio, you will see so many information about the company and even about me. I don't have to blow the trumpet right here on the club. So I really appreciate you coming. You are not here to waste your time, and we are not going to waste your time either. So you are here. Look at your track record. You will know that this room is a room to be. So thank you. Today we're going to be discussing about tech interviews. There are things that you need to look at on interview. There's some things that you are mistake that you are making. There are some tips that you need to put on in your pocket so that you can use them when you are interviewing. So we're going to be looking into that today. And I just want to also thank everyone that came to our free masterclass on Saturday. It was packed. People were able to understand tech and what, maybe if they're interested in a certain area of tech, what exactly can they do? What's the best option for them? So if you miss that particular tech free masterclass, look under my bio. There's another one coming up this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You are free to join that, just 1 hour, and it's packed. It's free. Also look under my bio for resources for YouTube. All these are, you know, all these are rooms are on YouTube. I try to put them on YouTube so that you can rewatch them over and over again. Like right now, I'm on Zoom. So I record it and I put it on YouTube, and I have slides. So when you're looking on YouTube channel, you're just looking at the blank screen. There are slides that you can look at and then follow the room as we're discussing. And even after the discussions, we always put everything out as well. I put everything out as well on LinkedIn. So we summarize the room. The major highlight the topics. We summarize everything and put them on there so you can see exactly what we discuss in the room. So we are putting a lot into this. So make sure you follow us to see exactly it's for you. We are doing all of this thing for you. So make sure you don't miss those things. And I really appreciate you being here today. I will allow my co-moderator to introduce themselves, and then we can get started. This is just for 1 hour. Thank you. Leah, can you introduce yourself, please? And if Leah is busy, because she told me she's at work, Eunice, can you please introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, my name is Lawanice Fowler, and I have been in the staffing industry for 20 plus years. I'm currently a recruiter with FedEx Logistics. So my interaction is with a lot of the hiring managers. So I know firsthand kind of what they're looking for, what they're not looking for. So, any assistance or advice that I can offer to assist with your interviews, I'm available. So, thank you so much for inviting me on stage. My name is Lawini Fowler, and I'm done.
Thank you, Lawinis. Really appreciate you joining us. Dee, you're welcome. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. So yes, I am Dee. I'm here as an author. I'm also an interview coach, and I specialize in the executive level interview, but I can also be of help when it comes to the behavioral interview. Tell me about yourself, questions like that. So if you have any concerns or like gaps in that area, I can help.
Thank you, Dee. Actually, this week we're going to be doing a lot about interviews. Why? Because I have a lot of students that are interviewing right now, and a lot of people that I know that are interviewing right now. So tomorrow will be behavioral interview. On Wednesday will be situational interviews. So we're going to be doing a lot of interview. On Friday, we did Zoom interview. Today, we are just doing general tips about interviews. So we're always here 12 p.m. Eastern time. So feel free to join us any day. The only day we're not here is on Saturday. Yeah, Lee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's Leah Hall, and I thank you so much for inviting me to the stage. And this is so interesting, and I really appreciate you, Temi, for sharing all of your wealth of knowledge. I'm with Rise and Shine Education, actually a personal finance person, but looking to actually help my son get into tech. So this is such good information. Thank you so much, Temi.
You're welcome, Leah. Thank you so much. Yeah, Miss Toots, you need to introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Tutu. I am a cybersecurity, information security, governance, risk, and compliance sector. I've been um, in cybersecurity now for a few years, and Professor Tami was my mentor. Well, she still currently is my mentor for other skills and other courses. However, she was the one who helped me break into tech. I did not have a tech background, and I didn't have any coding. There's no coding required to break into tech, especially cybersecurity or Scrum. Want to encourage you all to take this interview process seriously and join the master class. If you really want to break into tech and you want to transition to your new career and you don't know how you're going to do that, the master class really will show you how you can do that successfully. And you don't need any coding or anything like that, any tech experience. And follow us, follow all the moderators, follow the Tech Empower House. We're also on LinkedIn and we're on YouTube. So you can watch our videos on YouTube. These clubhouse rooms are like podcasts and they are recorded, so you can go back to reflect and take notes. If you missed anything, it will be put on YouTube also for your reference. And reach out to Professor Tami if you want to if you want to break into a Scrum or business analyst, or cybersecurity. You want to work for a software technology, companies. It does not have to be your thing. It really doesn't even have to be the big four either. There's a lot of technologies everywhere. You can work anywhere, and every large organization uses technology. And you'd be surprised. There's a lot of jobs out there in cybersecurity. My name is Tutu, and I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Tutu. Really appreciate you joining us. I will just encourage everyone to ping in one or two people to this room, because a lot of time the people that actually need to be in these rooms are not here. They are in some other rooms. Maybe they don't know these rooms are here. So feel free to ping them in. We're gonna get started. So looking at interviews are very important. You can't get a job without an interview. Maybe maybe if it's your family company, they might just pick you and just drop you into the position and drop money in your lap. But it doesn't happen like that. Even some companies, even if it's your family heritage, they will still interview you and make sure you are a good fit for that position. So today we're going to be looking at some tips that are very useful in the interview in the industry. preparing for interview takes a lot. It's more than just Googling some common interview questions. I mean, you don't have to be looking at, okay, this is the question I'm going to ask, or make sure that my clothes are clean, it's not wrinkled, and all of that. It's more than that. So there are a few things that we're going to be looking at. The first thing I want to mention is you need to know your audience. You need to know the company you're interviewing with. I will start with that. You need to spend some hours, few hours to learn everything about that company. You need to do some research and to see what kind of company you're going to be going to. You're going to be so Google the company, look at the company website, check them out, check on Twitter, see if they are tweeting some things about the company, look on LinkedIn, uh, talk to friends and contacts about, this particular company, maybe they've heard about it, stuff like that. So that would be really useful when you are going for interview to know about the company, check their website, um, so that you can have a larger picture of the company, as long as they're negative, um, information as well, so that you can prep yourself ahead. So know the company and get a sense of who the company is, and also the people that you're going to be interviewing with. Get to know them. If you're going to be interviewing with a particular engineer, with a particular manager, make sure that you go on their profile. You don't, look at them, at least see who they are, see their background, information about that particular person. That make you more comfortable, because even though you've not really met them, but you have some information about them. That really helped me a lot in some interview when I was still working for other people. I I will look at the particular person that's going to interview me and read about them, check them out, just make me comfortable. It's like I've met them before. So when I interview with them, I'm very relaxed and I'm comfortable, and it's just like a discussion at that point. So make sure you do that. Know about the company, know about people that you're interviewing. If you can even follow them on Twitter, if possible, if you're really interested in them, look at it, see what's going on with the company, um, you know, so that you have a good feeling about them. And maybe there are some few jokes and things that you've seen about the company. Just bring that along. You just want to have an atmosphere of interview whereby you are not on the firing squad, or scared about they firing you. You want them to be comfortable with you. So when you prepare yourself ahead, they get comfortable with you and they will know that you are serious, because you're actually checking them out and you know who they are. So that will be a plus. And so by the time you are interviewing, if you have done all of this work, it make it easier for you. So knowing the company, getting ready is very, very important. Any add-ons on knowing the company and knowing the people that you're working with? Any other add-ons on that? Anybody want to
I'd
chime
like
in?
to, oh,
Yes. Go ahead,
yes,
please, Dee.
sure. I'd like to add. So, yes, that's an excellent tip. That's, in fact, the first tip. And to give like a tangible example, if you were going to work for Amazon, what is their number one thing? Like what are they known for? I would say customer service, right? So you want to position yourself to appear, or whether it be appear or it's actually true, that you believe in providing excellent customer service. So you have to show immediately how your interests and goals align with their mission and values. And when you do that, make sure it doesn't sound like it's rehearsed or that you did your research. For example, one person may say, I read about what you're doing in such and such. You don't say it like that. You would say, and I love what you're doing in such and such. So you act as if this company has been on your radar all along and you're just excited about the possibility of joining their team. This is Dee, and I'm done speaking.
Yeah, thank you, Dee. That's a good tip as well. Yeah, making sure you know how to present those findings that you found, so that you don't just say, "Oh, I read about you. I saw, by the way, I saw you on LinkedIn." Like, really? But saying, "I like what you do," and all of that. So that's a good way. Make sure you are jotting all of these things down. That will go a long way to help. Miss Tooth, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, to what Miss D said. It's true. Like like for example, I was interviewing for a startup, and I was really close to getting picked. I noticed that they acquired another company, so in September last year. So I said, "Oh, congratulations! I see that you all acquired this company. You know." So I brought that up because I'd done my research. So I congratulated them on expanding their company and acquiring another company. So yeah, you wanna make sure that you do your due diligence, and you research the company and look up the interviewers on LinkedIn. Sometimes the interviewers themselves will add you on LinkedIn because they're looking you up. So they're going to add you on LinkedIn as well. They're going to, they want to connect with you prior to even the interview. So you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is matching with your resume, and you list all your certification. It matches exactly what you put on your resume. Matches very well with your LinkedIn, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Tutu. Thank you, Miss Tut. Yeah. So that's very important that Miss Tut said as well, your resume should be matching your LinkedIn profile. It's very, very important. Another thing I want to point out is if you are going to be working with the interviewing for an engineering company that into sales or marketing, like a lot of this marketing company, a lot of this fine company that are more product, like Facebook, they are product. Facebook is their product, right? Most of these tech company, they are products. So you must, like Apple, right? You must make sure that you have used their products. Try as much as possible so that you want to be able to speak concerning that. You don't want to be like, okay, I just want a job. I don't care about you. I don't care about your product. I just want a job. You don't want to portray that, right? So use their product, make sure you have a knowledge of it, because that's when you'll be able, if you get hired, you want to be able to help the customer because you want a perfect customer experience. So when you're a customer yourself, then you are in a better place to do that successfully. So make sure you understand and use the product if you can afford it. Another thing is that make sure you know the kind of, as you are knowing the people, also know the company and know there are different types of interviews. Many companies have interview steps, process. Like we are discussing about FANG. Yesterday we are talking about test skills decoded, and we kind of mentioned some things about interviews. We know that some companies, the FANG companies, even though they are, they are names that is high cashing, you want to work for them, but their process can be frustrating. So you need to know, how do they interview? So don't just go to an interview blindly without doing the research about the company's interview process. We know the fine company like Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Those are the fine companies. And so there's some other ones too that are not on the list. Um, those companies, they have a process. Like we know that Amazon, they have like 5 interviews. A typical IT company might have like 3 interviews or something like that. Some might have 4. But Amazon is 5 interviews. And you have to use the STAR method, which we're going to discuss tomorrow. We have to look at their leadership principles and then link them together to answer each of those questions. So you need to understand how you interview with those different process. So you need to understand. So not just going, maybe for example, if I'm going for cybersecurity analyst interview, and I just go online and Google cybersecurity analyst question and I just use that. No, it's more than that. So that's why you have to be here this week. So on tomorrow, we're going to look at behavioral interview. How do you answer them? On using the STAR method. On Wednesday, we're going to do situational interviews and so on and so forth. So make sure you are here. So it's very important that you note that interview process is always different. So normally, you might be wondering, what is an interview process? What am I going to be expecting? The normal thing is that the company, when you put your resume out, okay, and that's why you have to follow us on LinkedIn, because we have all of these things, on YouTube, because we have all of this video on YouTube already about the different interview steps. Okay, so when you put your resume out, right, then a recruiter will find you and then they will call you. It might be maybe you put your resume on the company website directly on their career page, or you put it on the career job hunting site like Monster, Dice, Indeed, and so on and so forth, right? So a recruiter will find it and call you and discuss with you. Oh, I found your resume. How are you doing today? Um, are you looking for a job? Is it the most current resume? Do you want to give me an updated resume or something like that? Then if you said, oh, yes, I'm looking for a job, then they discuss with you. This is position I have. They will let you know. And they will ask you, how much do you make now? You know, and then you tell them, okay, I'm making so and so. Then they say, how much are you looking to make in your next career? So that they will know if there's a match before you they even submit you. So if you can bargain there, make sure you bargain. Don't just go for whatever they say. Just try to like add more to it. Or they might say, oh, you might say, okay, I make 95,000 now and I want per year and I want to make 100,000 or something like that. They might say, okay, we can do that, or they might say, oh, we can pay more than that, a little bit more. Depending, just make sure you bargain. It's okay. In tech, you can really jump. You can jump from like 10,000 more, 20,000 more, or even you are getting in straight. You're just breaking into tech for the first time. I can show you how to make good money. My students are breaking into tech from scratch. Some people make like 100K. Some people making 150 without IT background. If you know how to bargain, because this tech company have the money and they're ready to give it to you. That's not salary negotiation, right? But I just want to let you know the process. We're going to discuss that too, maybe on Friday, I think. So now, after they now agree, okay, we're going to submit you. Can you sign off that you agree to that we submit you, right? So when you sign off, that means you are committing yourself to them, because most of the time there might be other recruiter that will find the same job rec and they want to call you also. So you don't want two people to submit you for the same job. So when you're committed to company A, then they are the one that will represent you for the interview. So that's just why you sign those things. Well, because some people will come and Miss, they're asking me to send them my birth certificate, my date and months, and then they're asking for my last 4 digits of my social. Nobody should be asking of that. But sometimes if they do, that means they're asking for that because they need those things to just keep track of your record. That's pretty much why they do that. So after the first discussion, it's not technical. Most of the time, it's not technical at all. So then they submit you. And when they submit you for interview, then the hiring manager might now call you from that company that they submitted you, but they will have to schedule a time with you. And the recruiter will call you back and say, "Do I've submitted you? The hiring manager really likes you. Can you have time to interview? Will you be able to come for interview? Which day is good for you?" So you give them a couple of days, maybe sometimes like 2 days, maybe like, okay, I'm good on Monday and I'm also good on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. And then you tell them the time, maybe one morning time, one evening time, or something like that. So then you have give them range of time that you're available, right? And then they will schedule and they will give those back to the hiring manager. They pick one of those time and then they will now come back to you with the time that they picked. So now you are ready. You are now looking at your, preparing and all of that for the interview, right? Then the hiring manager call you on that day and discuss with you. They may go a little bit technical to just know more about you, what you've been doing. If they like you, they may now ask you to meet the team. So meeting the team might be a little technical sometimes or not. If you make yourself comfortable enough and you really kind of know what the company is looking for, you've done enough research, then it might become and you prep very well, it might just become a discussion or a chat, because now you are ready, you kind of know what they're looking for and you are prepared. So most of the time, that's the final. When you do the final third round, that's final. But some company might do the fourth round. But most of the time, what I've seen is just 3 rounds, which is the recruiter calling you, the hiring manager calling you, and then finally you meeting the team. So that's I'll stop right there. Miss Tut, you want to say something?
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned what I said earlier that a lot of these, a lot of people are hung up on like big FANG companies or the big fours, those are the most competitive companies to enter in. The average company will just give you, I've had interviews that I've had like a phone review, a phone call, right? Phone interview, the first call, and they've offered like a tentative offer right there. I've had other interviews where it's just like the phone screen, and then you do the second interview, which is just to like, with the, you know, one of the team members, just make sure if they like you, you fit into their culture. And then you do the last interview maybe with the hiring manager, and then maybe the client. Okay. Sometimes you don't even have to do interviews with the client. If it's like a direct hire, like you're full time, you might only do 2 interviews, and you'll find out the results, the status of your application within a week, or maybe even less than that, within like a few days. You might be offered offer letter. But if you're hung up on all the FANG companies, big companies, you might not even know. Like I've heard people on Clubhouse waiting for over 2 months just to know if they, because these FANG companies, they'll give you like 7 rounds, 5 rounds sometimes, like, so just to get into that, it's harder. It is harder out there with them. And if you really need a job, and you can make the same salary as a FANG company, you really can. If you're getting hired as a contractor, some contractors will pay you $95 an hour, $85 an hour. It all depends on your how capable you are to negotiate salary, like Miss Professor Temi said. And you're earning a lot of the same amount as you would earn if you were working for Facebook or Google, right? So just want to just everyone to keep in mind that it is not always about where. Yes, it looks good, everybody want to brag about working for FANG or the Big Four, but there's so many companies out there that's not even like, I used to be hung up on Northrop Grumman or Lockheed Martin and all those companies, and Booz Allen. I was, I really wanted to work for them. But when I came into this, tech company, I realized there are so many other companies out there you can work for that I've never even heard of. So just keep an open mind, and sometimes the smaller companies are the ones you will enjoy even more. You don't know. So just you'll have the phone interview, the initial phone interview, then you'll have the call with the hiring manager, and then they'll give you a third phone call for like just to like the culture interview, like the situation, things like that. That's the average is 3 phone calls really for an interview, and you can get lucky. It could be 2, and you'll start a job in 2 weeks. So the other companies are very competitive. Those take longer for you to hear back from them. It does. And if you have families to feed, you pick your choice. I'm done speaking.
I really appreciate that. That was awesome. I totally agree. But what I like about Ms. Temi's course and what she's doing is not only does she mentor you, but she also gives you that experience piece of having something that you've accomplished or some kind of activity that you've done to be able to put on your resume as well. So yes, definitely agree with everything you said.
Yes, she does give projects. The same project that you'll do it, when you're working. Yeah.
I just wanted to add, so great points. And going back to the conversation, I just want to remind all job seekers that it's appearing like a conversation, but be on your best behavior. Some interviewers know how to pretend that they're being casual just to see how loose you will get, and then that's where they catch you. So always be aware of that. This is Dee, and I'm done speaking.
Yes, they do that. And like if they, if you get too comfortable with them, and you can, carry on and talk. Just be mindful of what you say. They can do that.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because I was actually going to get into that.
And sometimes it's the recruiter that's doing it.
Yeah, because it's just be polite, right? Especially when you're going for face-to-face. They're looking at you. They're watching you like hawk. For example, I even do mock interview for my student. When you get in, the way you shake their hands firmly, shows that you are serious, you are ready, politely. You don't even sit down before they sit down. You wait for them. Let them tell you, can you please sit? Then you sit. If they offer you coffee or water, if you're comfortable, you can take water, but don't go and take coffee and then relax as if you're in your office. So just all those things. Then if you are meet anybody in the company or in the elevator, you just smile or be all smile, and smile very well and be nice and polite to them and greet them. Don't just be like, I don't care about this person. You don't know if they are the one. They know you are coming. Number one, they already know that you are coming. So don't think they don't know you, so you don't care. They know you. They know about you. They may not be interviewing you, but they know they interview Temi today. And they know Temi is the one by the elevator. So if you are not polite enough with them or nice, they know. They just note that. So because they want somebody that will be likable, they don't want to bring a monster to the environment, so just note all of those things. I always tell people also, make sure you're on time. Make sure you smell good, not too much perfume or anything, but just smell good, looks good, look good, and come on time, you know, and sit in the front lobby and wait. You understand? And also make sure you have a pen to jot down things. Not writing an episode or writing like you're in class, but you need to show that you are you studious. You like to write things down and ask you questions. So we're gonna get into all of those tips, right? So just make sure that you are presentable and you mind your manners. Thank you for adding that. Now, anticipating the interview questions now. Let's look into those areas. So you need, even though you are the best, you'll be interviewing, you know everything about that particular role you are applying for, you've been in that role for 50 years, you still have to practice. You still have to see if there's any new tool that just came out or something that you don't know about this. So make sure you are well oiled and ready for that interview. So make sure you understand um, your abilities, you know. And also, you have to practice couple of questions like that. They will always ask you about, the first thing they will ask you is, tell me about yourself. What are you going to say? I prep my student. I have 22 pages question and answers that we use based on their, especially for cybersecurity and or any other courses they take. We do prep interviews. The first thing they will ask you is, tell me about yourself. So you need to prep that. And we also do prep ourselves with that. What are you going to tell them about yourself? So you need to prepare ahead. They will ask you that, and then you have to write down about yourself so that you memorize it. Sometimes I tell them, look at yourself in the mirror and say that back to yourself many times. So that's like your elevator speech. So tell me about yourself. What are you going to tell them about yourself? Note that. Then, and they might ask you also another question that can throw you away, that can make you blown apart. You are not ready for that. Is what's your biggest weakness? What's your biggest weakness? So when you have this kind of interview, when they ask you something like that, you have to know a weakness that is turned into strength. You don't want to portray yourself as being weak. So you might say a weakness that's going to be turned into strength. We're going to look deeper into all of these things when we discuss situational interviews and behavioral interview. We're going to actually do some mock interviews here as we go. Throughout this week, we're doing a lot of things about interviews. So when they ask some of those things, make sure you are ready. And then with that also, you can look at list of common interview questions. So prepare, you write it down and all of that, but then you must practice them. And like you're having a script, and make sure you master those scripts. And then you need to use your keywords based on the role you are applying for, right? So if you're applying for cybersecurity analyst, you have to say, okay, I'm a cybersecurity analyst. I've been a cybersecurity analyst for so and so years, and I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate. Put your soft skill into it. I'm passionate. I love what I'm doing. And then you add in your role. What have you been doing in those roles? And you slide them into the discussion and all of that. So you're ask me, tell me about yourself. We'll have your soft skill, your hard skill, all mixed together with your keywords to give them a very good answer for that. And don't forget your number. So when you have, maybe I right now I support like 20 systems, or have 50% of my 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 clients are DOD, depending on what you're doing, right? DOD, you know, companies, so and so companies, things like that. So you can use numbers, you can use just to make it that you really know what you are doing, your accomplishment. That will help you to sweeten up all of those answers. So make sure you add numbers and keywords and soft skill and hard skill into your answers when you're giving back those answers. And when you are discussing, like we said, make sure you use the STAR method, which we're going to be discussing tomorrow. Looking at the situation, what have you done with it, and all of that. So we'll discuss more about that as we go into the interview tips. Anyone want to chime in on the questions?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's great when you discuss your weakness. This appears to be a question that really, I think, hurt a lot of candidates. But when you discuss your weakness or area of development, make sure you let the interviewer know this may be an area of development, but this is also what I'm doing to correct it. So they love to hear what you're doing to make sure that it's a weakness now, but it won't be a weakness long. So just make sure you give an example of I'm doing ABC to correct or to help this weakness.
Thank you, Laonis. Any other person want to chime in on the questions?
Yes. So when it comes to tell me about yourself, a lot of people offer their name, their age, their family, and I caution against all of
Really?
that.
Wow.
Just hop right into your education, your experience, your passion,
Yeah.
and why you're applying for that particular role, how you fit into that role.
Yeah, it shouldn't be personal. They're not asking you to tell me about I'm 20-year-old, I have 10 kids, and I'm not married, or I'm married, I live in New York City. You don't need all of that. That's why you have to practice, right? And if you are trying to interview and you are failing, can't get no jobs, even though you are trained, reach out to me. I can guide you into how to interview, mentor you into that. You don't have to go through that kind of frustration. It's really frustrating. So yeah, so that's very important. Thank you so much. It's not personal. You still have to remain you still have to remain professional, right? Even in answering those questions. So that's very good. And any other person want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I wanted to say that in conjunction with what you all said, there are some companies, especially companies that are like either startups or they're big on culture and like close knit and they like to have fun. They might ask you what your hobbies are. I've had them ask me my hobbies, what do I like to do, what do I do in my free time. It was like they were very relaxed and we were on video. They were, relaxed. The last interview I had, the director was on her couch. She was very relaxed. But you just make sure you're not that relaxed, okay? But they do want to know how friendly and relatable you are. So just give them like one hobby or two. That's fine, but don't like carry on too long about that, even though they do want to see if you fit into their culture. But don't, like, you can say you like cooking, or baking or whatever, or your favorite recipe. You can say that. If you're vegan, maybe you can mention that. I don't know. But like, don't spend the whole time on it, even though it can get to be that way, especially if they're very quirky. It's possible, just remember that you are still in an interview. And that is how they can get you that way too, because you don't know which angle they're coming from. You really don't know which angle they're coming from. You don't want to be closed off, but because I told them I'm into using air fryers now. You know what I mean? Something like I watch all these air fryers and I watch a lot of tech reviews on YouTube. But like, yeah, it can get really, they can get stuck on talking about like the hobbies if they're like a company there where they're like very quirky and they like to have fun. That does happen, especially with those startup companies.
That's a great point. I guess you can say, and in my spare time, I love to golf and just leave it at that. So you are humanizing your presentation and you don't come off just like a stiff person. So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so hobbies can actually come in. Yeah, a couple of them, even on your resume
please
as well.
Don't say you don't have any hobbies. You don't want to say that. That's
yeah, and no, you don't want to say that, right? You
I don't
want
do
to
anything. I just
or you don't want to say, oh, you don't want to say I love happy hour. When is your next happy hour so we can go shark it? And we always say also, don't say I'm a slave queen, I'm a slave king, and I love to play around. Yeah. So Laonis want to say something, right?
I just want to back up Miss Two because she's 100% correct. When so there's like two parts to an interview when hiring managers are speaking with you. One, they want to make sure you have experience, but second, they want to make sure you fit in well with the team. So you absolutely want to show your personality to a certain extent. Like she said, you still want to remain professional, but you still want to show your personality. I agree. At least have one hobby. Make sure you stay away from politics and religion. But you want to at least be able to discuss, like she said, air fryers. That's a total safe space that you can discuss. But keep in mind, the interview it's not just for the company, but it's for you as well. So you're also making a decision about this company. So definitely be yourself. Make sure you still remain in that professional arena. But Ms. Two, you really hit it. You really hit it on the nail. Companies are looking at experience and if you are a fit for the team. And I'll give you an example. I have candidates where they will go to an interview and it may be a candidate that maybe they don't have as much experience as another candidate, but because this candidate was able to maybe show a little bit of personality or just show they were a fit for the team, this person with less experience was able to seal the deal over someone that was more rigid in the interview. So thank you for bringing that up. That's a valid concern. And once again, no religion, no politics at all should ever be discussed in an interview.
And don't bring up Black Lives Matter, okay?
Oh yeah,
that can be political.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
None of those Asian hate Black Lives Matter situations. I would even stay away from like capitalism. Just you can say, oh, how are you all old enough in the pandemic? I hope everyone's staying safe. And all the families, are safe. But you don't even bring up vaccines. Don't, because not everybody wants to take it, right? So yeah, don't do that. What else? Not because I think we should talk about what you should not do. Because we can get carried away in conversation. So do not talk about politics. Do not talk about Black Lives Matter. Do not talk about Asian hate. Do not bring up anything about capitalism. And with the whole thing with diversity and inclusion, it can be sketchy a little bit. If they have it on their website that they are big on diversity and inclusion, you can give them a compliment about that you saw that on there, that they're an advocate for diversity and inclusion. I don't think that's a bad thing, but don't go into details and stories and how you feel about it. I'm done speaking.
I agree. I had told a client not to mention the concern for it. Just look at the website and look at the office. What do you see? And everything may not be apparent, but if that person is not a strong believer in it, then they may have that bias and take you out of the running. So I absolutely agree. And I want to take it back to what not to do. When you come to the interview, you're going to come early, but not more than 10 minutes early. So give yourself at least 2 hours to arrive at the spot. Make sure you know where it is. How many of you have thought, okay, I'm in the right area, and then come to find out the building number is confusing? So make sure you're in the area and don't show up until it's like 10 minutes until the interview, but you can actually like circle the block or find a deli to sit in, but just, you want to appear confident and not too anxious. Because when I didn't know that, one time I showed up, I think 20 minutes early, and the interviewer looked very frustrated. Another tip in terms of early, if you're going to have a Zoom interview, make sure that your software is updated on your laptop. Make sure that you understand whether it's a Zoom or Google Meet, because sometimes you may not have the software uploaded. So just always be ahead of the curve in all things preparation. This is Dee, and I'm done speaking.
And also make sure you clarify with the recruiter if it's a video or just the voice on Zoom, right? Because if it's through Zoom, it can be that they want to see your face. And if you don't turn your video on, then of course you're not going to get the job, because they want to know who they're hiring, especially now that everyone's remote. So you want to clarify with that. Some people, it doesn't matter. You can use, they'll tell you it doesn't matter. But you really want to know if it's video is involved or not, or if it's just phone.
I agree, absolutely. If you have not had a video interview, I guarantee you probably will probably have one in the near future. I think the pandemic has moved us toward video interviews. So I would suggest right now, while you're in your search, go ahead and get familiar with not only Zoom, but get familiar with WebEx, get familiar with Microsoft Teams, get familiar with all of these different formats, because you never know which company uses which format. And I think video interviews are here to stay. So, looking for a job is a job in itself. And the best advice that I can give you is, do not wait until you get the call for an interview. Hopefully you're already practicing and getting ready for your interview before you even get that call, because you may not have enough time to prepare. There are some recruiters that may call and your interview can be within 48 hours, or it can be 5 to 7 days. You want to make sure when you get that call that you are ready, because that may be your only opportunity to get in front of this hiring manager and have a good, and have a good presentation. So you only sometimes get that one shot, and you don't want to miss out because you are not prepared. So make sure right now that you are preparing for the interview before you even start applying for positions. That's just a tip. Thank you.
And also make sure you have a designated area in your house that it's clear. If you're gonna use your, make sure you have a white wall background somewhere. Colors, I'm not sure. Just make sure you have that on that feature on. Not all the I don't know what WebEx has with blurring the web background. I'm not sure. So make sure you do have a designated area in your house that the background is, clear.
Absolutely. Great. Yeah. I would just maybe piggyback off of, be careful when you use those filters, because some of those filters can be a distraction. So just make sure, and you want the interviewer to be focused on you. So just be careful with some of those filters, because some of them can be very distracted, and you don't want the interview to be focused on your background rather than what you're saying.
Yeah, that's very,
especially those blurry ones.
That's what we did on Friday. All day Friday for 1 hour, we discussed about interview. We looked at Zoom and WebEx and go to meeting and all of these other ones. So make sure you follow us on YouTube and look out for those videos. We discussed, Zoom interviews last week. So that's great. Thank you so much. I see Unsa just came up. And if you are interviewing right now, you're already trained, you can get into tech. Let me know, I can get you into interview, give you some tips and help you. Unsa, I thought you have a question. You went back. Okay. So do you have a question?
No, I was going to add something. You know how Lani said, stay away from politics and religion. If you do have an in-person interview, please stay away from making comments that may allude to, i.e., body shaming. So once upon a time, I was interviewing someone with my VP, and she had been in the company for a long time. So her headshot on the website kind of looked a little different than what she looked now. And the interviewee, the person who we're interviewing, said to her, made a comment about it, saying, "You look nothing like you do on the website." And she's like, "Oh, really?" And the person went on to say, "Yeah, you look much older." And I'm like,
Oh my
"Oh."
Lord.
So,
No way.
since we
Oh,
were speaking
jeez.
of things not to do,
Wow.
even if you have an opinion, even if the person looks green, where on the website they look yellow, keep that to yourself. As long as the person has introduced themselves with the same name as the person who is supposed to interview you, just keep it moving. My name is Unsan. I'm done speaking.
I would even go and add, like, I don't know if you're like, so if you're in a garage space, even with that, I wouldn't keep those stickers, those bumper stickers is like, Biden, Harris, or, Trump. I would remove those stickers of your car, because you don't know if they might even escort you to the door and you're getting into your car. You don't know if they can see you from the window. You don't know if you're gonna run into somebody in the parking garage that knows that you just came from that interview. You just don't know. And if they're not that politician supporter, then you're probably not gonna get the job, because it's been really sensitive these days about politics. Okay, I don't put any of those stickers on my car. I don't. Yes, people say, "Oh, freedom of speech and freedom of expression," but if you're going to put that on your car, you're setting yourself up in the public. If you're going to go for an interview, especially, right? You don't want to put it on your website, on your Facebook pages. You don't want to stay away from that. Also on LinkedIn, because there are some LinkedIn conversations where people would congratulate a politician, and in the comments, they're going back and forth in the comments. And you would not even believe this is LinkedIn, because you're like, this is LinkedIn, this is professional, right? They're literally they're insulting each other about politics, about Black Lives Matter. It's gone crazy. And the thing about that is, I can see what you all commented on. I can see it. If I've added you and connected with you on LinkedIn, I can see which which post that you like. You have to be careful about that. It's a little bit different with, on Facebook, it's a little bit different. But with LinkedIn, once somebody looks you up on LinkedIn, they can see what you've commented on, especially if they're connected with you now. You can see that. Likes and everything, posts and everything. So if I'm interviewing you tomorrow and I've seen that you've liked certain offensive and you've made comments, I can see that. I've already added you on LinkedIn. Then already I'm going to be like, is this person I want to work for? They're still going to go ahead with the interview, right? But they've already made up their mind. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's pretty much like saying, Miss Anna. Yeah, you're gonna say something. It's pretty much. It's hi. It's pretty much like saying, keep your professional background neutral. Don't. If you want to do anything on Facebook, that's fine. Facebook can be for your family. That's okay. You can fight and break your head there. But but when you come to LinkedIn, remain professional. Don't comment any whatever. Just be professional on there, because everybody have access to you. And people that want to hire you, they will ask you is, what is your LinkedIn profile? They will not ask you what's your Facebook profile. Even though they might check you out on Facebook too. If if you are, maybe you have a group or something, I don't know. Most of the time, just make sure whatever your utterances on public social media is neutral. No, don't go too extreme that they will find out, oh, I can't work with this person. You never know what they're looking out for. I just want to mention that. Also, before Miss Anne says something, also be on your best manner when you are out for interview. I noticed there was a time I was interviewing we're interviewing someone, and as soon as they got out of the parking garage, they just zoom off. The car was in higher speed, and I was like, really, this is the person that we just interviewed? You are not coming here, because that means you are so reckless. So things like this, you think, oh yeah, I'm done, I know I'm going to get interviewed, and you just behave some irrationally crazy. They are watching you. So take note of that. Just be on your best man. Thank you. Miss Anna, yes, please chime in. Do you have any?
Thank you, Miss Amy. But anyways, I was agreeing also with Ensa in regarding body shaming and all that stuff. It's actually really nice to be conscious about that, especially now with people being sensitive and stuff like that. Just be conscious about that. I just wanted to quickly add, and I'm not sure if you've already talked about this just because I came in late, but for example, for me, when I train my clients, when they're going for interviews, of course, you're going to get your first call from a recruiter. And the recruiter wants to know if you're going to be a great cultural fit for their organization. They want to see your communication skills. They want to see if you know anything about the job and stuff like that. So that's the first thing. You need to have your good questions that you're going to ask the recruiter first to see also if this recruiter is going to now put your information to the hiring manager. Now, the hiring manager sometimes also maybe high level questions, and they're just going to ask you high level questions before they bring in the team. This is where you want to start putting together your star stories, because your star stories are going to be able to help you answer situational and behavioral questions. Like, for example, your project manager, you're going to be asked, tell me a situation when this happened. How would you deal with this? Because of course you're dealing with people, you're dealing with situations, you're dealing with tasks. So all those questions are going to be asked to you. So you need to just figure out how are you going to deal with those. So start writing down your questions in a spreadsheet if you can. How are you going to answer questions regarding conflict, communication, leadership, problem solving, organization, time management, risk management. That way you have all these questions and you practice also in the mirror. Practice with someone. Do a mock interview. That way you feel very relaxed when you get into the interview. I just wanted to add that. I'm not sure if you had already talked about that, Ms. Temi. This is Anna Namdan speaking. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. I know we can go on for another hour, but we have come to the top of the hour. It's 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much, Larunis, D, Miss Toots, Insa, and all the other moderator that left. We really appreciate you coming in. This week, like I said, we're going to be discussing interviews. Tomorrow, we're going to look at behavioral interviews. The main reason why we're doing all of this is to make sure that you can actually get that job. If you're gonna snatch it off their table or whatever you're gonna do to get this job, we are gonna get this job. So on Wednesday, we're gonna talk about situational interviews and so on and so forth. We are even gonna talk about salary negotiation. We are in for a mission, and the mission must be accomplished. So thank you so much for everybody for joining. So make sure you come in again tomorrow, 1 hour, just 1 hour, and then we're done. So, and if you are not registered for the free masterclass that is coming up, my free masterclass discussing about cybersecurity and some other tech, make sure you look under my bio. Is the first link that you see right there. Make sure you follow it. Follow our YouTube channel also for resources like this. This room is going to be on YouTube as well. Make sure you follow so you can have a replay of this at every point in time. So we thank you all for joining us today. Miss
I want
Toots,
to add one last thing I don't think we mentioned.
Okay.
Follow up with a thank you letter within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Follow up with a thank you letter. If you have something fancy, this appropriate, that's like a thank you stationery, you can probably use that. But just keep in mind like the font, and don't be too extravagant with it. But just follow up with a thank you letter to the HR, and they'll pass it on to them. Thank you.
Yeah, so there'll be more tips as we go tomorrow and day after and day after. So we'll be adding more tips. I still have a lot of things on my slide here that we're going to be discussing for interviews. So make sure you come in. And another thing is to make sure you dress well and appropriate, and make sure if you are doing Zoom, you are not wearing half nice dress, half pajamas, things like that. So we're gonna discuss all of those things as we go in. So I really thank you for your time today. We won't keep you waiting. We'll let you go now so that I can have a wonderful day. So we'll see you all tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all so much, and may God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you all, everybody on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Have a wonderful day too. Bye bye.